Hey guys, I was already announcing a video about consciousness, civilization, so I'm taking things to a political global level in this video without any preparation. So I did not ask ChatGPT for the definition of what civilization is or anything else. So let's get into it. So what I see, observe, and feel in the world currently happening is like a cold awakening. Is a form of awakening, and it seems like it's got a narcissistic, rather psychopathic nature. So in the world politics today, I see strong parallels to psychopathy, and especially in a sense of parallels between how psychopathic abuse would look like in a private personal setting, but and this is expanded to the world. And what I mean is that suddenly an image of superficial fake humility, superficial fake humanity, a parental fake relation, like the relationship of a father or a mother, a parental relation to a child was only fake and suddenly gets dismantled and is pretended, or it was pretended only, and now suddenly they say, everything is just business. Didn't you know that? And this is exactly how a narcissistic psychopath behave when they betray their victim. They pretend to be grown up, even though the true psychological background, in my opinion, is that they are following the goal to validate a grandiose self-image of superiority. And once the time has come where all their plans in the background, their deceptive plans and revenge fantasies culminate, they are ready to present this narcissistic fantasy or psychopathic fantasy to the world. And that's the moment of betrayal. That's when they say, didn't you know it's all just business? Oh, you were such a dreamer to believe that, you're such a child. We don't operate from love, compassion, trust, moral, ethical core or something. No, didn't you know the world of grown-ups is the same as psychopathy? We are simply goal-driven. This, this kind of energy, this kind of narration. While excuse me, the psychological background of that is, the truth about this is it's a theater play that simply shows a self-image of a person that is unable, that is, not participating in love, that is not having a concept about it. And this is the problem in a lot of ways. It also shows that our world rewards the narcissistic and psychopathic behavior, and it also shows why compassion, love, higher consciousness functions provided by the neocortex that only can evolve in the perfect conditions of a person or a group of people. Children are here. A group of people is living in abundance, having everything they need. This is the time these functions can show up. But in a fight and flight situation, wherever it comes from, because psychopaths and narcissists try to induce fight and flight trauma responses on everybody around them, because they cannot function beyond that. Therefore, they need this environment in order to thrive. It's the only way they can operate. And this is holding humanity back. This is like the cap, this is handicap. This is the handicap we have. This is the stick in the wheel that blocks our evolution, that actually messes up the situation for everybody, is because we have the psychopath and narcissist, and they make this theater play, and we see it in global politics right now at the moment. It's like, at some points in history, something like civilization shows up. And civilization means that a lot of people have suffered a long time, but bring a lot of sacrifice. Generations are sacrificed. Lifetimes are sacrificed. And they go into one direction. And this leads to a few generations, a few moments of, it develops cultural goods, cultural identity, cultural fruits and results. Music, cooking, food, but in a more evolved way than just the satisfaction of primitive needs. It's getting refined, like classic music, like French cuisine, whatever kind of culture we look at that is having a thousands of year old tradition. It means it's something beyond the primitive nature of humanity. It needs a lot of sacrifice and suffering. And then it shows up, and this is also what consciousness is. Consciousness is beyond the survival mode. The kids are really going crazy at the moment. And then when this is evolving and showing fruits, there is a moment where we are set back to primitive survival mode. And the layer of what we call civilized, what we call conscious, is very thin. It does not need a lot. It needs a pandemic like Corona to bring people to betray each other and shed off all signs of civilization or consciousness or compassion. It needs what is happening now between the big players, America, Russia, Europe, to shed off all layers of compassion, diplomacy, relations, love, togetherness, belonging together, to betray each other completely, to shift from a parental relationship to a betrayal and leaving the child abandoned and alone to humiliation. It does not need a lot to switch immediately into this devastating state where all fruits of culture, all past relationship, all consciousness, everything is just sacrificed, and then it comes up this narration of, didn't you know that this is the true nature? Didn't you know that this means being grown up? Well, this is a lie. This does not mean to be grown up. This does not mean to be it does not mean, a real parent, a really individuated person. The pinnacle of evolution, what humanity could be, is different than that. What we display at the moment, and especially the pretenders on the top of the food chain, those who pretend to be, those who always pretended to represent all these values, they are psychopaths, and they are stripped of everything that makes any sense or brings worth to the table of the world. They are living in the same state as in the Stone Age, as we would live in the Stone Age. Well, in the Stone Age we were even further. In the Stone Age we had tribes that belonged together and did not betray each other like that, okay? So this also shows this underscores the theory that technology is reactionary. It regrets people, and it is not a progressive tool such as science. So science itself is progressive and a fruit of conscious effort, of love, of culture, of what it brings forward the development of humanity. But technology is influenced by science. Technology is dependent of science, but technology is created by narcissists and psychopaths in the leading positions. And capitalism, I don't say that capitalism is evil or bad, but it rewards narcissistic and psychopathic competitive behavior, and it thrives on betrayal and the building of cartels and of stealing original ideas from small fish. Okay, so the small fish gets exploited. So all of this leads to technology, and technology is to control people, eat small fish by big fish, and lead to betrayal and manipulation. So this is how I feel like the current political climate is that one of every country is now alone. Nobody trusts nobody anymore. And people are betrayed and abandoned by their parental figures. Everything was just a fake. Everything is just business. And everybody pretends to, in this toxic masculinity, or in the case of politics, it rather shows toxic masculinity than toxic femininity, I believe. And this toxic masculinity pretends to be masculine, while what it really expresses is infantile defense reactions. Okay, so imagine how an infant having a tantrum or is expressing in the narcissistic phase between 2 or 11 years, an infantile reaction of the display of grandiosity. What does it mean to be grandiose at this age? It means to hurt another person and then display your own grandiosity and superiority in the most primitive way you could think of. And this is what the political leaders of today express, and they pretend to be role models of and pretend to say, didn't you know that this is the nature of grown-up world? This is real politics. No, this is the downfall of humanity back into the darkest hours of unconscious conflict, suffering, pain, and agony. This is the opposite of culture. This is the opposite of what a healthy masculine spirit, a parental spirit, should ooze and display. This is the opposite of that. This is shame and anxiety. Manifested shame and anxiety. And we see this on the top in the screens, displayed shamelessly, overtly. But we see this also in families. All right? The worst of the worst is displayed and sold as something worthy or valuable. Okay? So yeah, the eternal battle between good and evil, between light and darkness, between pretense, between superficial pretense and content and substance. It's a ever repeating divine display, and we don't know where it will end. It will always change its face. And it's really interesting. If the good would win, or if the more evolved, social, mature principle would be dominant, we would have a linear, boring development. And so I think we need this for some reason. We need a lot of downfall. We need a lot of dysfunction. We need a lot of sacrifice. We need a lot of suffering. We need a lot of the best being sacrificed and living in darkness and suffering. It's part of it all, right? Yeah. So this is actually happening at the moment. All the countries are left alone, and nobody knows who to trust, because we have this infantile defensive reactions, and people are confused by this. They don't know who is now the enemy, who's the enemy, who's the friend. Everybody is betrayed. Everything, you can put things upside down, and even this doesn't work anymore.